Well, it seems like this is becoming a weekly occurrence now. It is a new week, a new episode of the Checkers or Wreckers podcast. I am your host, Carter Leonard. I apologize if I am not louder than I am usually this episode. Yeah, I just apologize. Welcome to episode number 8 of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It is just a one-man show today. I am by myself. Not that anyone did not want to join. It's just sometimes you just have to take accountability for yourself, and the show has to go on. Yeah, very, very. We got a lot to talk about this episode. This past weekend, all three series made their trip to Atlanta for the season. Their first trip of Atlanta for the season. We'll start off by the events of Saturday. The Truck Series race was kind of I wouldn't say typical Super Speedway truck race. There wasn't really a big one, but there was a lot of interesting moments. Christian Eckes ended up winning the race, the first not the first win of his career, but the first win for Bill McAnally and his team. That 19 truck team looking very strong to start out the year. They are currently the points leader as right now in the truck series. I'm starting to think that now that truck team is becoming a real contender each and every week. I think they finally found their driver in Christian Eckes, who's always been a very interesting prospect in my opinion, and we'll see how he continues throughout the entire season, hopefully, because they have a strong start so far to the year, and hopefully, it's gonna go well for them. Hopefully it does. Then we have the Xfinity Series race, and technically the Xfinity Series race, kind of takes up the entire majority of the show with one specific topic, but we'll get to that later on in the episode. The Xfinity Series race, how do I put this, was not their best show. I'm just going to say that is probably the most respectful that I can be about a certain bad race. Is it wasn't their best showing. Austin Hill, let's get that out of the way. Austin Hill has won 3 of the first 5 Xfinity Series races, and he is on fire to start the year. Richard Childress Racing have been on a tear so far this year in both Cup and Xfinity, mainly Xfinity, but no surprise, he is the points leader, and 2 of those wins have come at Super Speedway. So, Austin Hill, if you were looking for a favorite in the Xfinity Series when it comes to Super Speedway tracks, I think Austin Hill is the new favorite. I definitely think that he is the championship favorite right now, along with guys like John Hunter Nemechek, young guys like Sammy Smith and Chandler Smith. And it was a very interesting finish, too. It was either going to come down between Austin Hill or my main guy, Parker Kligerman, who I am a big fan of as well. I would have been fine with either both of those drivers winning. And it looked like for a second that Parker Kligerman could have gotten the win, but Daniel Hemrick wanted to do his best Brian Vickers impression and try to wreck both leaders, but obviously that didn't work. He still came home second, which that's his best finish of the year so far. Going back to that 48 team real quick, they're going to win the race. They're going to win a race this year. I think that 48 team is way better than we think. I think Parker Kligerman is like a very, very underrated talent. If you ask me, he's not a win week to week driver. He's not gonna win races week to week, but he is definitely he has some talent behind the wheel. Let's just say that, and I can't wait to see what that team does throughout the rest of the year. But yeah. Anyways, still congrats to Austin Hill. That's the second time that he's won at Atlanta in the Xfinity Series. He definitely has a history there at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now, the race itself, for that race, it was a pretty caution-filled race. It felt like every single, Now, I actually did not watch majority of the race. I was actually out pulling, as a matter of fact. So I didn't really get to see like. Well, I saw like majority of stage one and stage two, and I did see the finish of the race because I got back home in time to watch the finish, and um, from what I heard, it was a pretty. I'm trying to think of words that are pretty nice and don't like. I'm trying not to cuss right now. I'm not trying to say an S show right now. Not that I don't want to. It's just because I'm in a good mood right now, so I don't want to. You know, good vibes, guys. Good vibes. But yeah. Like at one point, it said like the longest green flag run was probably about like 6 to 7 laps. Like my God, like I understand like that the Xfinity series is not gonna put on a perfect show every week because like Xfinity produces some of like the best racing in NASCAR. Like Xfinity series races are depending on what track they're definitely fun to watch, but I can't say the same for this past weekend. But glad that event is over. Hopefully, when they come back in for the July race, hopefully that doesn't repeat. So I mean, but anyways, that's all I got to say about Xfinity. The Cup Series race, which was the and Better Health 400, it's the sprint race, so it got cut down from 500 to 400 miles, so it's a shorter race. Um, it was a definitely interesting race. Joey Logano and Ford break Chevrolet's streak of 4 consecutive wins. Ford finally got themselves a win, or a different manufacturer. They have broken Chevy's streak. I mean, it was bound to happen eventually. I mean, Chevys can't win the entire season. At least I don't think they can. But it was clear and evident that a Ford or a Toyota was going to break the streak. And Joey Logano with Team Penske, and he dominated. He led 140 out of 260 laps. He won stage one. And it was the Penske cars up front, too. Um, Blaney won the race. Austin Cindric got a stage, and Ryan Blaney led some laps. Every Team Penske car at least led one lap. So we kind of knew that the Fords were probably going to be strong heading into this race due to their qualifying efforts because they did qualify 1, 2, 3, and Logano was on pole. So, and I'm a firm believer where qualifying on super speedways, in my opinion, and this is my honest opinion, it doesn't really matter. I'm not saying that it's not needed, but like when it comes to super speedway racing, literally anyone could win it. It's either the pole sitter or some guy in the back like Garrett Smithley or something like that. Like far fetched idea, I know, but like it's just like that for some reason. But anyways, Team Penske domination really, and it looked like that Brad Keselowski was going to get his first win in 66, 67 Cup starts. His last win was at Talladega in the spring of 2021. That was his last win with Team Penske, as a matter of fact. So RFK also looking strong to start the year. And little fun fact of the day, Brad Keselowski has led a lap in every Cup race this season so far. Consistency at its finest. RFK definitely took some notes from last year and have applied it into this year. Mainly the sixth car. The sixth car has been looking like the lead car. Um, and I think that Brad Keselowski could sneak out a win. We don't know where it could possibly be, but I would not be surprised to see Brad Keselowski back in victory lane sometime soon. But that was not about Brad Keselowski. Atlanta was all about Joey Logano and the defending Cup Series champion doing business as usual, getting his first win of the season and almost nearly guaranteeing himself a spot in the playoffs. So, yeah, that is my weekend recap video. Um, pretty up and down weekend if you had to ask me. But you know, you're gonna have this weekend sometime. So let's talk about NASCAR fans for a second. Boy, do we love talking about that. And I'm gonna take up a lot of time with this one because it's pretty common knowledge what we've seen on social media, and it regards back to the Xfinity race. People last year when it came to New Atlanta, when the reconfiguration happened, they were like, "Oh, well, it's okay," or you either kind of liked it or you hated it. There was really no in between. And now I feel like the people who kind of did like it are now moving into the hated side. I would say mainly because of the fact of it didn't produce a lot of good racing. Um, I'm not I'm not one of those types of people that think that um, a super speedway race has to be a wreck or crash filled type of event. I will say it's I just like to see good racing, and the reason why the fans were upset is because they missed the whole Atlanta. They said that it's just not real racing. It's not good racing. This and that, and um, it's been it's been over a year since this repave happened, and the surface already looks like that it's been torn up and worn up. Tore up and worn up. What does that even mean? It's been worn out. It looks like it's been worn out so far. There's even some patches that have been made before the race weekend even came. And I don't want to say that, like, a matter of fact, I will say this. And I've seen a lot of people comment on this. I've seen a lot of people talk about this, and they have said that Atlanta may become the weirdest NASCAR track within the next several years to even a decade. And you know what? I can't really blame them for saying that. Like, I don't, like, I can only picture right now what the racing is going to be like with a worn out surface because, like, is it gonna still be super speedway racing? Is it gonna be like people make comparisons to pre Daytona, like before Daytona had their big repave before 2011? Like it was super speedway racing, but it was bouncing all over the place. People broke up in little packs and battle for the lead there. So like, is that gonna happen? I can't really um, predict the future, obviously, but who knows what's gonna happen with that track surface and the racing there. So I don't mind it being a little super speedway track. I think it's a very interesting and unique style track, but it's my opinion on Atlanta is I would have been fine without the progressive banking and making it into a super speedway, but at the same time, I mean, it is what it is. I can't change it. You know, it's not my job to do it. So I mean, we'll just we'll see what happens with the track in the future. And going back to the Xfinity Series race, and this has been the talk of NASCAR for this was the main weekend discussion, and it translated into a big penalty. Um, Josh Williams, driver of the number 92 DGM Racing Chevrolet, um, parked. So let's give a little background. So one of the main wrecks involving Kaz Grala and a few other drivers, Josh Williams was collected involved, and he had a little bit of nose damage. So he went down pit road and put some bare bond on and some tape and tried to repair it. However, when he was leaving his pit stall, there was some tape that flew off and it was left on pit road, I believe. And after that, NASCAR black flagged him for that. And instead of taking, I forgot how black flag penalties work again. If someone can remind me down Like, if someone can like remind me, please let me know. But NASCAR black flagged him instead of probably taking a pit road penalty, or not a pit road penalty, a pass through penalty, and being sensible. Josh Williams parks his car on the front stretch, climbs out of his car, waves the crowd, and leaves. Um, what? Now, I saw this moment unfold, and I am like, uh, what is going on exactly? Like, what is he doing? Like, how, like, I couldn't even comprehend what I was seeing because, like, it's not every race or any sporting event that you could think of. Well, actually, I could think of a few, but it's not every day that you see something like that occur because, like, out of my years of being a NASCAR fan, I can't say that I have seen something like that. So, um, very now when I've now NASCAR released a statement saying that Josh Williams is suspended for this upcoming race at Circuit of the Americas, and Alex LeBay will run in the 92 for him. And you know what? Actually, before I get my thoughts on it, let's talk about some NASCAR Twitter thoughts. Yeah, because those are definitely the comments that you want to that you definitely want a comparison to yours on, because because Twitter comments, those are definitely, and I mean definitely, the most intelligent comments. Like, they are so filled with common sense, it's not even funny. For people who didn't realize, that was a joke. Moving on. So, a lot of people are like, man, this is some BS. Of course NASCAR is going to suspend him. NASCAR, they're a bunch of sissies these days. First of all, dude, he caused the length of a caution to go longer than it should have been. He's delaying parts of the race. And NASCAR had to go get his race car. Instead of taking the car to pit road or going back to the garage area, he just left it out on the track. It wasn't a crash vehicle. It wasn't demolished. It was still perfectly fine. He just got up and left. Like, I don't understand why people got so butthurt about it, because let's be real, you should have seen the suspension coming. Like, it was pretty common knowledge that it was coming. Like, you think NASCAR is just gonna let him slide with that? And then I did think that his fine comment was pretty hilarious. And he's like, "What's he gonna do? Fine me? I can't afford to pay it." Well, I mean, Josh, it depends on how much they fine you for it. I mean, like, it really depends on how much they fine you for it, because um I've seen a lot of people make comparisons to the Antonio Brown thing. For any football fans out there, the Antonio Brown, waving off thing back in 2021 when he was still with Tampa Bay, and how he even retweeted it himself. I don't even know if he realized what he was retweeting, but I think the little peace sign was a nice little jab to that. So but yeah, very interesting uh event that happened there. Like, you like most of the time you'll see the most outlandish things in the Cup Series, or hell, even the Truck Series. But like the Xfinity Series, it's not so innocent after all. After this, I definitely think that he should have been suspended. Um, and you can make all the comments you want. Oh, of course you're gonna kiss NASCAR's ass. This, and that. Oh, back in my day. First of all, no one cares about back in your day. Like, that's back in your day for a reason. We are in the present day. We are in the year of our Lord 2023. Like, it does not matter what you think. What you think about what it was like back in the day. I don't care. Like, first of all, you can't just park something. You can't just park your car on the front straightaway, get out, extend the caution, which has gone already longer because than it already has to be because of your antics. You can't just do that and just think, "Oh, I'm gonna get away with this." No, like it's you like no, just no. Like any man or any person with common sense knows that. Like it is just absolutely like I swear and I hate getting taking comments from NASCAR fans simply because of the fact of it's not always going to be the most intelligent thing that you are ever going to read in your life because a lot of people are like, oh, well, the penalty's too harsh. It's not like they fined him like $15 million and suspended him for the rest of the year. Like, it's just one race. Like, granted, he should have been doing it to begin with. I do think that he deserved to be punished, but at the same time, it's not like he got like a freaking massive fine that's gonna put him in like the debt of points. Sorry, Justin Haley fans, I hate to bring that up, but it's like I understand you're mad. I completely understand why Josh Williams is mad. That's something that was completely out of his control. But I'm just saying he could have handled that better. And oh man, as a Kyle Busch fan, that's kind of ironic for me to say. The unbiased Carter moment of the show. That's kind of like ironic for me to say because Kyle Busch has literally did that last year at Darlington. But then again, he was so close to the garage area. This man, Josh Williams, literally parked it on the front stretch. Like, he didn't even try to take it back to the garage. He just said, you know what, if you're gonna come black flag me, come get my beat up Chevy Camaro, I guess. I mean, whatever, I guess, but yeah, Josh Williams, man, I mean, come on, dude. Let's have a little bit more common sense than that. But yeah, um it's definitely ridiculous. I know it seems, guys, I'm sorry. I know it seems like that I'm just running out of things to talk about. We're only about like 22 minutes in, but I have a lot to uncover in this episode. But yeah, that's my whole opinion on Josh Williams suspension. I think it's definitely deserved. I think NASCAR did the right thing. I think fans should have seen it coming. The keyboard warriors, as Mike Joy likes to call it. And actually, let's talk about the keyboard warrior comments for a second. So the brief history of it was NASCAR fans obviously complaining about commercials. In other news, water is wet, the sky is blue, and Mike Joy, at first he did it just to poke a little fun at the fans and just say, all right, for all you keyboard warriors out there, I believe the first time that he said it was at Phoenix. He said, all right, for all your keyboard warriors out there, the next side-by-side commercial is now. And they went to a side-by-side. So, and Mike Joy had every right to call him out. I mean, let's be real. The trolls on Twitter will literally complain about anything Fox Sports does. I'm not saying Fox Sports is all peachy, fun, and sunshine and rainbows and all that, but, I can't find someone else that can really, besides NBC, that can really handle NASCAR coverage well. Unless, when the new TV deal comes, someone will just pop up and say, hey, you know what? I can do it better than you, Fox. So, we'll see what happens after that. But, and then Mike Joy did it again this week at Atlanta. He did it again this week, and a lot of people, it's funny how, like, I even read some comments that said, like, Mike Joy is a snowflake. You're the exact reason. See, people typing that stuff is the exact reason why Mike Joyce said it in the first place. You guys complaining and you guys just
sitting at home, typing on your, you know, laptops, gaming PCs, or on your phone, or whatever you're doing, you guys sitting back and complain, you're the main reason why Mike Joy is saying all this stuff to begin with. So if you don't want him to say it anymore, I highly suggest that you just stop acting like a buffoon and just, like, I'm not saying you can't rant or complain, but, like, you know, if you do it around Mike Joy, especially these days, you should probably be expected to be called out. I can't say that I've had that from experience, but, um, yeah, just quit complaining, guys. Just listen. Too many commercials. I get it. I completely understand where you guys are coming from. It's frustrating. It's ridiculous. But at the same time, there are limits that have to be drawn. There are limits that you can't be doing. You gotta you know let's calm down, guys. Let's definitely calm down. But anyways, with that, we have a lot to unfold this upcoming week. Circuit of the Americas, NASCAR for the third year in a row will make its trip down to Austin, Texas for the recently built, kind of decade old road course and stuff like that. We'll have more after this quick intermission. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I definitely apologize. My jaw, as we speak, was kind of cramping up, and I needed some fluids, so I definitely apologize. This is what happens when you talk a whole lot in a podcast. This is what happens when you talk by yourself. You don't really have anyone else to talk to, and it just rolls that way. I give my realist opinions on the show, but as I was saying, NASCAR heads to Circuit of the Americas for their events for the third year in a row. My opinions on Circuit of the Americas are actually really good. I actually really like the track. It's a very unique road course. Obviously it was built for F1, but NASCAR took its first trip to the facility in 2021. And that race is really memorable for some actually decent racing, but we, it was the monsoon of races if I've ever seen one. So, yeah, and then for the 2022 schedule, it moved the date back to the spring. It became the sixth race of the year, as a matter of fact, and a lot better. It wasn't a downpour and a fantastic finish. It was Ross Chastain ended up getting the win. Um, and Circuit of the Americas was part of the, I would say, the new road course movement in NASCAR, where we went from 3 road courses of the year to about 7. Like 2021 was a major overhaul of the NASCAR schedule when it came to road courses, because you had the Daytona road course, which that was temporary. You had Circuit of the Americas, you had Road America, you had the Indy road course, etc., etc. Like it was a big overhaul year for road courses, and like one and possibly two of those road courses are probably going to leave within the are well, one's already left, but one of them may leave soon. But that's not about that right now. And yeah, Circuit of the Americas so far has provided some pretty solid racing for a road course so far. Considering the next gen road course package has been kind of so far, like the biggest dull race of the next gen when it came to road courses, in my opinion, was Sonoma. Like, it's just kind of dull there. I don't really um, see um, the how do I put it? Like, it's kind of a dull road course package. Like, I keep trying to say stuff that doesn't make any sense, guys. I need to get better. I'm sorry.
Um, but yeah, Circuit of the Americas, very very nice road course, very very nice indeed. We are currently at the 30-minute mark of this show, so with that being said, we have some news this week to talk about, and it is not a very big news week, but it's some decent news. For the Xfinity Series race, we actually have some Cup guys who are actually going to be making some runs there. You have Ty Gibbs in the 19. He'll be returning for the Xfinity Series race at COTA in the 19 car, and you have Eric Almirola in the '08 car for, I believe, I forget what team that he is with. I believe. I forget what team that he is driving for exactly. I do not have my notes with me, so I'm just completely going off of my random knowledge. But he is running that race as well, and Carson Hocevar is actually going to be racing in the Xfinity Series race as well, as he's making starts for Spire. But he's actually not making a start for Spire in this race. SS Greenlight Racing, which owns the '07 car, let go of Blaine Perkins and will be replaced by Hocevar. So Blaine Perkins, I can't really say a whole lot about him. Really nice guy, but not the most talented driver in the world. But you know, he's solid. He's solid so far. And Derek Kraus will be driving um, in the Xfinity Series race as well. I think so. I forget where he is, what he's driving. He will make his NASCAR Xfinity Series debut, and it will be for Colleague Racing in the number 10 car, which is technically the all-star car for Colleague Racing ever since Landon Castle left. You've seen Austin Dillon, you've seen Kyle Busch in it, and you've seen Justin Haley in it at the play track. So, Derek Kraus, kind of talented, but, he's in over his head sometimes. He can be goofy sometimes. He can make mistakes. So, very nice to see. So, some drivers returning to the series and some drivers making their first starts in the Xfinity Series. So, very interesting week at COTA. The Cup Series is definitely the same. You have Jordan Taylor in the 9 car for Hendrick Motorsports as Chase Elliott still recovers from his leg injury. Um, I remember when the Jordan Taylor news first came out, and I'm not a big IMSA fan. Well, I always shouldn't say I'm not a big IMSA fan. I respect it a lot, but I don't really follow it as much. I will watch the Rolex 24, but um, yeah, Jordan Taylor, for he's an American driver. I think he's ran in Circuit of the Americas before. I'm not really sure, but I was really surprised when Hendrick Motorsports announced him. I thought that they were actually going to get a really good road course runner, probably Miguel Paluno, but Jordan Taylor will definitely do. He is really fast at road courses. I can't really say the same. I can't really say that he would be fast in a stock car, but who knows? He may shock the world. This upcoming weekend he may be fast in practice. Who knows? But a lot of other drivers are making their Cup starts in Circuit of the Americas, and it contains 2 former F1 world champions, Kimi Räikkönen and Jenson Button. Kimi Räikkönen will be driving for Team Trackhouse's Project 91 car, which is actually scheduled to do several races this year. Maybe hit a couple ovals. I would like to see him do at least one oval track if that's possible, instead of just road courses in general. If they want to keep it like a road course car program, then that's fine. But I would like to see what road course guy would do on an oval. Just to see it once. Just to see it.
But Jetson Button, I was not expecting him to run. He's running the 15 car for Rick Ware Racing. For
Yeah, he's running the number 15 Ford Mustang for Rick Ware Racing, sponsored by Mobile One. I had no idea Jensen Button was even in the NASCAR to begin with, so him being there is just, it's going to be an honor and privilege to see, because, this is pretty legendary. It's pretty cool to see.
Again, I've said this before, it's pretty cool to see a lot of international guys come into the sport and, try the sport out and say, hey, you know what, this is actually really cool. So, very, very exciting weekend ahead of us for this upcoming weekend. Now, there is some rain in the forecast for tomorrow's practices for trucks and Xfinity. Obviously, all three series will run their road course package, which is, the windshield wiper. They'll bring rain tires just in case, and, et cetera, et cetera. We all know how the drill goes. But it's the first road course of the year. We have about 6 road courses this whole entire year. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see a lot of the road course runners up front. Oh, yeah, by the way, I forgot, AJ Allmendinger is running the Xfinity Series race this weekend as well. So, we pretty much have the winner for that race already set up. So, it's pretty cut and dry. Oh, who knows? I might pick someone different. I don't know. No, we're not even at race picks yet. We are still about 36 minutes and 39 seconds into this episode. I pretty much have gone through all the major stuff, but I am still trying to get as much out as I can as of right now. Again, not the longest episode in the world. Not a lot to talk about this week. I'm not expecting news to pop out every single week, but it's yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Jimmy Johnson is also running as well. I keep forgetting a lot of stuff. I am so sorry, guys. I have not been with it today. Very long day. This is probably the most laziest episode that is going to be run in this whole entire first season. I definitely apologize, guys. Like, I am just not been with it. I'm trying to get this out as quickly as I can. So, yeah. Like, if you hear some background noise in the background, I apologize. It's just, whatever. But anyways, really looking forward to COTA weekend as a fan. I would like to go to one of those races eventually. But it's, I don't really know. I don't really know how, like I've been to a road course race. I have been to Mid Ohio. I went to the truck race last year, and obviously COTA is a way, way bigger road course, but I can get a pretty good idea of, what sitting or seating at a road course is like. I'm not going to the COTA race, by the way, but I would like to eventually go. I think it's a very, very unique racetrack, very unique road course, and just overall I think it'd be a really cool experience. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to really say on COTA. I definitely think that it's going to be a very interesting event. Also, with COTA, will actually be the first race of the season where stage cautions will be no more. This will be the first test of stage caution. Stage points will still be delivered. It will still be the regular order. However, it will stay green throughout the entire way. And I think this is the first step of NASCAR removing stage cautions completely. Like if it really goes well, if like the road courses like put on, I would say, a heck of a show, because like there's really not really a point in throwing a caution at the end of the stage. It's like like it's to signal a break and all that, but like I mean, I just don't really think that it was necessary to begin with day one. Now, I remember when stages first came out in NASCAR, the first season that NASCAR used stages was 2017, and I was about like 11 years old at the time when that came out, and like I was kind of confused on how it worked because like I've never because like back in the day it was just you run the 400 laps, no breaks. Obviously, there'd be cautions involved, but like, there wasn't segmented racing back then. And I was just kind of like, huh, okay, that's a very, interesting concept. I never really thought of it like that, but whatever. Let's see how this works. Um, but yeah, I'm really glad that NASCAR came to their senses, especially because I don't like stage cautions, period, but like them on road courses are like completely unnecessary to begin with because let's say a driver gets out to a 3 second lead, well, not necessarily. It doesn't really got to do with the lead, but like, the rate, like road course races could always be so strung out and, be like hardly any passing, hardly any, you know, battles up at the front, which I'm not saying you're going to get that at every road course, but like, it's not the most entertaining show or entertaining race that you are gonna see. So like play some strategy. I want full race regime back. Like if you want to start paying if you want to keep paying stage points like throughout the whole entire top 10 including playoff point, then you can do absolutely that. I don't mind that, but like I'm just saying the unnecessary cautions, and I'm with majority of people on this. Like the unnecessary cautions are they're just they're not needed. They're just unnecessary, and you know, really, it's kind of redundant and kind of like oh, well, we're trying to bunch up the field. Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, if someone has a dominant car, it's gonna get strung out again. Like, and that's with every road course race. So I mean, I never really saw the point of stage cautions to begin with. Like, they're just kind of, yeah. Excuse me while I take a drink of water. This episode has been, it may not seem like it, but it's been kind of drawn. Not drawn. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I just want to get this episode over with. And I know a lot of people in the comment section are going to be like, oh well, you're you're not keeping it professional. You're always breaking the fourth wall. You're always breaking out a character. And like, well, first of all, it's my podcast. I'll do whatever I want. Second of all, yeah, I get broken up sometimes. I get lost sometimes, but hey, it's okay. We all make mistakes, Accidents happen, right? So I mean, I don't really see what the big deal of it is, It's my podcast, I'll do what I want with it. So, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the 43-minute and 39-second mark, or actually it's the 43-second mark now. Now that I'm speaking about it, so we are cutting down to the nitty gritty of this episode. I'm going to make my picks for this weekend. Now, I'm going to start. So me and the group are probably going to have a discussion of, because I don't like just giving my own picks. I like seeing other people share their own picks for the weekend. And on Instagram, I am going to probably post videos of, or not videos, of stories of every group member in the podcast make their own picks for the weekend. So that would be a really fun idea. It would make sure that everybody else is included and not everybody's distant or away from each other. So that's what I'm going to start doing from now on. We'll get back to it too. We'll get more people in the show as summer goes on. This podcast is still kind of in its early beginning stages, so
Let's keep that in the back of our minds. So let's get to weekend picks. It is the XPEL 225. It is the fourth race for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. A lot of notable things going into this race. Taylor Gray will make his first truck start of the season. Keep in mind that he was not allowed to run the first three races of the season because he is not 18. But coincidentally, the COTA race this upcoming Saturday is on his birthday. So it would definitely be really cool to see Taylor Gray get a win on his birthday. I mean, he did win at a road course last year in ARCA. He won at Mid Ohio, so it'd be cool to see that. But I am not picking Taylor Gray. I'm not picking Taylor Gray to win this race. I am going to go with a driver who is pretty solid at road courses. He definitely has a good road course resume, and he did win at this track last year. Back to back, I am going with Zane Smith to win the Truck Series race at Circuit of the Americas. I think Zane, I think that 38 truck for like the past 2 years has been really, really solid at Circuit of the Americas. They know what they're doing with their road course package, or their road course program, I should say. So, yeah, I can definitely see Zane Smith going back to back and getting Front Row Motorsports their second win of the year. Now the Xfinity Series. Now this race, and actually every Xfinity Series race that will be run on the road course, when I did my preseason predictions, it was probably the hardest thing that I had to do in my life because, well, one man and one man only was not in the mix. That was A.J. Allmendinger. Now, A.J. Allmendinger, he didn't win every road course race last year, but he definitely won majority of them. Actually, wait. No, he did not win every single road course race, but he definitely won majority of them. But A.J. Allmendinger is running in the Xfinity Series this weekend. I believe he is. Hold on, let me just make sure. I actually do have the official lineup tweet for this weekend's events. And yeah, he is running the Xfinity Series race. And he will win. Yeah, I am picking AJ Allmendinger to win the Xfinity Series race. Pretty simple and pretty reasonable, if you ask me. So, yeah. All right, and now it is the Cup Series race. It is the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. I think that's what it's called. I keep forgetting the names of races. Last year's winner was Ross Chastain after an incredible final lap battle between him, AJ Allmendinger, and Alex Bowman. He ended up being victorious after getting Trackhouse Racing his first win of the year. Now, if I do pick Ross, this would be the third week in a row that I am picking Ross Chastain. However, I am not doing that. I don't know about y'all, but when it comes to this weekend, I am all in on AJ Allmendinger. I know he has not had the start to a season that he has wanted to have, but I think AJ Allmendinger and road courses, they are still a very, very good combination. So I think that he will win both Xfinity and Cup this upcoming weekend. So yeah, AJ Allmendinger is my Cup Series pick. I am definitely going for him. I think that it's a solid pick. And if you disagree with me, then I really don't care. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this week's episode. I'm sorry if this episode was kind of a little bit lazy. It was just by myself today. You know, another by myself episode. It's kind of lame, kind of boring. You kind of want someone else to keep the talking in your ear, which I don't know why you like people talking in your ear like that. It's just kind of weird if you ask me. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I will try to release another video this week, and it will relate to something else. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next episode or next video I upload. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.